Hello planner friends, and welcome to an unboxing, that most special of days. And in here is, well, obviously something from Foxy Fix. However, it is not my TN, the Traveler's Notebook I've been using recently, so yeah. But I'm sure you read the title, because you are with it. And it is something just as special. And all the Foxy Fix boxes pretty much come with this shredded paper, and it leaves a dusty deposit on plastic, or at least the plastic seems attracted to it. However, your planner or what have you is usually in a bag, so it's okay. And they also come with a tag, which I haven't found a use for just yet, but it's kind of neat to see the other leathers they have available, I suppose. And this is their bag. It's stamped with their logo, and inside I have just a glorious treat. It is the new Foxy Rings personal planner in the Boss Babe cake color, which is a dark navy, and the stitching is gray, and it is very pretty. It's a little dusty too, so the bag isn't foolproof because it's like cheesecloth, but that's okay. That could just be brushed away. But it looks rather impressive, right? And super reinforced. And it had a good snap. It's difficult to kind of snap something like that when it's not full, when it's not super bulky, but that was okay. And it comes with pockets, and I've never had pockets in my Foxy Fix, and after seeing the pockets here, I don't think I ever will, because they do add just a little bit of bulk to it. But the rings are super taut and very strong. So I do that a couple of times because I just can't get over how strong they are. They're using a special 30mm ring that I guess the Vanderspec company uses, so fancy leather planner company. And it is tightly secure in there. I know I've had some issues with like Kiki K. Their rings seem to be a little bit loose, but this one looked very rough and tumble. Like you could definitely berate that spine and it would be fine. And the pen loop is elasticized, which is nice because sometimes with leather planners it's all leather and there are very few pens that could fit in that space. And I'm just opening some of the optional accessories I bought along with the planner. Don't worry, there will be a planner walkthrough a little bit later. I'll have the timestamps down below, but for right now I wanted to go over the accessories, and I was suckered into buying a divider set. It's nothing special. It's just some cardstock in a nice color palette, and they have a bunch of different ones available. They had a pastel, they had this more ombre sort of thing, and they had black and white. There are many options out there. But I will say I'm a little sore because it looked like perhaps the punch that they were using was getting a bit dull, because you can see the first divider, the super most vibrant color, there are little white marks around the rings, which you can't even see once they're in the planner, so I didn't respond or contact them about. Plus they're just dividers. But in addition to that, I got the page lifter, which actually comes with the planner, and I accidentally purchased one all by myself. Doing a follow-up purchase like immediately after I placed the planner purchase. And let me tell you, they do not combine orders. They say it's not the way that their system is set up, so be prepared for that. But I'm also a little sore because I bought all of this directly on launch date. I was super excited. And then summarily, maybe a week or two later, they had a mystery sale where you didn't get to pick the color, but you got a starter kit of all the accessories, which were extra for me, plus a planner for $50. And I paid, well, launch prices. And after that, they had all their accessories 50% off too. So watch your sales, peeps. Don't get sucked into the hype. That's all I can say. And these are some of the accessories I impulsively purchased. I purchased this dot grid paper from them because I had watched some YouTube videos from the people they sent the planners out for PR. That sentence made no sense. But some people got the planners and accessories for PR before launch. I think there were only a handful of videos. And it was mentioned offhandedly by a few people that the paper was wider than standard planner paper, and that's just for the regular, not even for the wide, because there is another version of the planner. There's the wide, but the regular planner was supposed to be leave a little extra room, including all the planner stuffs, and that's not the case. Here I'm comparing it to my favorite dot grid paper, which is from Aussie Planner Chick. And on the screen here, you'll see the price comparison. I think it's actually fairly comparable, especially if you're in the US, because Foxy Fix still charges for shipping, and Aussie Planner Chick charges for shipping to the US, and it's a little bit expensive. So comparatively, they're priced equally. However, when it comes to aesthetics, they definitely look different. The Foxy Fix has a wider dot grid, and it also is a little yellow. There's also a difference in the paper quality, and I will post that right here across the screen, showing what that difference is. But the dot grid size is only really noticeable when you look at this wide gap there is between the first line running vertically of dots compared to the wide margin you have going to the actual punches. So it's a little distracting, but right now, just to test it out and give it like an actual work through, I'm just creating a master schedule list for each quarter of school that I've had so far, plus the fall. So I'm just writing Monday through Friday, like a timetable. Monday through Saturday as a timetable, because I like to visualize my schedule because it helps me pick the times and days I can work. So I put down the classes I have and then the dates I work, and I just like having a record of that, which is something I so miss from bullet journaling, is having this compendium of stuff. I've been trying to put it in my rings a little bit more, but it's not the same. But that's just me being weird. So I'm just using some scrap Happy Planner paper to kind of cordon off the area that I'm writing in, because I wasn't sure how the paper would react to pen or anything like that. And I'm using my trusty Hello Kitty ruler just to dole out some lines there. And despite the straightness of this ruler, I still go and F it up right there. Yeah. Because I'm awesome. And overall, I do like the paper. It's nice. It's easy to work with, I suppose. There's no texture on it. It's smooth, so it doesn't really affect the tools that you're using that much. And I'm just continuing with my layout, of which I was not sure of, which is why, even though this is sped up a gajillion times, I think it's actually like times 6, but even though this is sped up, you can still see the indecision. And here I'm just trying to map it out on the smaller dot grid, and we'll see how that goes. But as you can see just from the sketch, I'm already negating like a bunch of room that could potentially be available near the margin, just so that it can match somewhat with the Foxy Fix paper. Now I have used their Foxy Fix inserts, and I seem to recall that the paper is a lot whiter and smoother than the paper that they punched for their planners. But even though I feel that way, I think it's kind of ridiculous, because why would you have different paper for different reasons? I don't know. It seems to me it would make more business sense to have the same paper and use it multiple times. So I'm sure it's the same paper, I'm just misremembering or something. So I'll flash that over here if I research that and find it was the same paper, because I have a feeling it is, even though I personally, with all of my experience, feel like it is different. Feels are not the same as facts. So that is my little layout on the Aussie Planner Chick paper. So I'm just right now doing a really quick shadow test or bleed through test, although I highly doubt that there will be bleed through, because the microns, even though they're a permanent archival ink black pen, they rarely bleed through anything. And you can see there is substantial shadowing on the Foxy Fix paper. Like, you can make out those lines clearly. There's minimal, if anything, on the Aussie Planner Chick. And so here I just cut me working interminably long on a new layout, and I just did the same thing to the back of each paper. I created that timetable again, and again you can see prominent shadowing on the Foxy Fix, not so much on the Aussie Chick. And I don't know, I like the smaller grid overall. I prefer that, because I tend to write small anyways. But if you write larger, then the larger grid will probably be better. And here I'm just going in with some mild liners to see what the effect is on the paper, because I love these highlighters. They're in wonderfully curated colors. However, they do bleed through most crappy papers. So they're not really great for my schoolwork unless I'm using like rhodia paper or something like that. And you can see they're shadowing, not so much bleeding at all, so that's fantastic. And I'm just alternating between the fine and the broad tip, or chisel tip. But yeah, I know there's a lot of hype about these highlighters, but it's worth it. And then again, I have not tried the Crayola Super Tips markers, so I might just feel like a rube all over again once I try those and see that they're just as compatible. But I'm on a no spend thing, so even though I know those Crayola markers are excuse me, super inexpensive, I can't purchase them. I just need to use what I have. And the yellow is by far my favorite color, the yellow and the gray. So boring. But it's kind of dying. So I need to replace that once my no spend is ended. Or just try the super tips, like I was saying I should. Yes, that's the plan. And I just did the same. You don't see any shadowing here, not even with the darker color on the reverse side. Or at least I don't, but the camera doesn't lie, so you tell me. So overall, I think I'm still ruling in favor of the Aussie Planner Trick paper. On the surface you do get fewer leaves, but the math all works out so that any difference is really negligible, so it just comes down to personal preference. And personally, I like dealing with a smaller dot. So here I decided, I know on my Instagram I said I would set it up for the fall, but I just had it sitting in the box and I really wanted to see what the potential was for this book. So I had my favorite recollections inserts that I had been hoarding for a little bit in this beautiful dark floral that really matched with the navy of the Boss Babe Kate color. And I was just testing to see, because again, I had that comment in the back of my mind. It could have just been one reviewer who said it, but they mentioned that there was a little bit extra room compared to your standard Filofax or KikiK. So I wanted to test that out, and I am also chunking up this sucker a whole heck of a lot just to see what the limitations are. So I'm just using my own planner inserts now to kind of deduce that, I suppose. So super interesting, super fun. And I was impressed over how much you can actually fit in here. That seems like a chunky bit. And everything's cool, except if you look on the down view, it's not really larger than a personal planner. It is standard personal planner size. So if you really want the wide, or you were really looking forward to using like these recollections inserts, I would go with the Foxy Fix wide setup rather than the regular, because it hits the pen loop, and that's no fun. And here I'm just testing the pen loop with the thickest pen I can think of, which is my 5-barrel Coletto, which typically has ink in it during the school year, but which is empty at the mo because I am using a 4-barrel, and that just makes the papers bubble something fierce, and it doesn't really lay well. So here's a slimmer multi-pen, the Meister Style Fit, which is a beautiful pen body. And still you run into the same issues. The dividers are running into the pen. So this is definitely not wider than your typical personal. So then I decided to switch up the layout once more and just put in what's been working for me lately, which is these just plain blank cloth and paper dividers with my Kate Spade inserts and the dividers that it originally came with, or rather that I purchased as an accessory from Foxy Fix. So it's not super chunky, and I figured might as well stick my favorite school pen in there, and it still doesn't sit right. It feels like there is so much unused potential in that planner because the spine is so reinforced and it is so thick that no matter what, you can't bulk it up that much, and there's just that negative space where the reinforcement is. So it's kind of, it ruins it for me because it's not like this compact, nice, tight little thing. I know some people have that kind of comment against KikiK planners, But comparatively, my yellow KKK planner, it is very tight and compact. There is little unused space, so it feels more secure, it feels more complete. And for that reason, I do not recommend necessarily purchasing this, but that's just my opinion. Take it for what you will. But thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you. Bye.